Today we're going to be talking about how to spot the manipulation and what happens if there isn't a clean accumulation. When we're following price and when we assume how price moves, we assume price moves in of accumulation, so moving like this sideways, right? Beautiful sideways price action. And then there's a perfect manipulation, and then there's a perfect distribution, which we're, re-entering or, scaling our TPs, whatever. So you're often taught about accumulation here, manipulation here, and also distribution here. But what happens if there is no clean accumulation like this? How can we spot the accumulation happening, and how can we spot the manipulation that occurs and also trade the distribution? The biggest thing that you guys need to understand is price doesn't move in always accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? It will always move in manipulation and distribution, but the accumulation can always happen prior. So the accumulation could have happened here, right? Price starts moving bearish, manipulation again, and this, right? So if we've already had the accumulation for our overall move, we don't necessarily need to see another accumulation, okay? Because we're distributing in our higher time frame. So if price is moving like this in our higher time frame, we don't need to see price continuously do this, right? Accumulation, this. We don't need to see price do that, because in an expanding market, we aren't going to have these deep pullbacks. We're not going to have, price pausing for too long to have those accumulations. So our first step to kind of understand this is we need to find out where price is going. All right. And a very simple technique I kind of teach my students is just zoom out, right? Whatever time frame you're in, just zoom out. Very, very simple, right? So if we're on the 5 minute, if I just zoom out, if I go to the 15 minute, go to the, any time frame, I could already see that price is bearish, right? Price is bearish. We're heading potentially lower. Cool. Where can price go? Well, just continue heading lower. Right? It's not a big deal. That's pretty much our bias done. Now, I kind of lied. That's not just the bias done, right? There's a lot that goes into it. But for this context, we could just use that. If we have, price displacing like this, right? And we're already coming with a bias. We're already coming with a narrative, which again, I talk very, very in detail in my mentorship about this, right? Because this is the most important part, is understanding where price is going to go. Your entries are going to be very simple, right? Your bias and being precise with your high time frame is very hard, and you're going to waste all your brain power on that. Your entries, you can have whatever entries, right? Doesn't matter. So how can I kind of be sure where price is going to retrace to continue that distribution? So meaning every time we have a retracement, we can now look at this as manipulation, right? So where can we spot the manipulation? Let's go to the 5 minute. What do we see here? There's a 5 minute fair value up. Cool. Is there any higher time frame fair value up above that? There's a 50 minute up above here. Is there anything on the 1 hour? Okay, cool. So we're distributing. We have a 1 hour fair value gap right here. Beautiful. So if price continues bearish, we can see price, obviously just closing below, maybe targeting this low down here. Or if price wants to retrace and act as a manipulation, price can utilize this 1 hour fair value gap. Okay, beautiful, right? Very straightforward. So now if we go to the lower time frame, anything here, right? So this is our 1 hour fair value gap right here. So anything here is all accumulation. So that means this high needs to be taken out in order for price to meet this objective, the fair value gap. And price can also take out this high here. It's not a big deal. Why? I'll get into it, because now we're going to be talking about profiles too, okay? And again, I go over all this in detail in my mentorship, which is very important, right? So if you guys are getting confused, you might have to watch the video a couple of times, or you just save your time, save some time and join the mentorship, okay? But anyways, so every time we have this retracement, right, this is all manipulation. A lot of people are getting baited here. They might be looking at supply zones here, right? People that trade SMC, they're getting baited with supply zones. They might be getting baited with inversion fair value gaps or some Fibonacci, whatever it might be, right? A lot of people are getting baited here, not realizing what's actually happening, right? And you follow price. We now mitigate the 1 hour fair value gap. And again, a lot of people are still getting baited here. But since we know about profiles, we are now trading this 1 hour profile with this 1 hour fair value gap, meaning we want to see price make the high, so make the wick on this 1 hour candle, okay? However, on this time frame, we still have 1 minute fair value gaps, meaning price can still remain bullish, take out this high here, right? And also take out this high here. It doesn't matter. Why? Because we have 1 whole hour to see price starting to reverse. Okay, that's very important. We have a whole hour to see price starting to reverse. So meaning price can continue respecting this 1 minute fair value gap. We're not panicking. Okay, cool. What's happening here now? Well, we've taken out the high. So that means it's 8:08 p.m. We have pretty much 15 minutes for price to now head bearish. Okay, that means we want to see price close bearish, or come to this horizontal line, which is the opening price right here, before this vertical line is met. We want to see this horizontal and this vertical line being met with price. So we want to see price close around this area. This allows this profile to go bearish, showing us that this 1 hour fair value gap is pushing price lower for price to then target this low here. Okay, again, I might be going quick, but oh well, not my fault. So now we want to see our 1 minute bullish fair value gaps no longer push price higher. We see price disrespecting this 1 minute bullish fair value gap. We want to see a bearish fair value gap that forms here. Okay, and we want to have an entry on this fair value gap right here. Stop loss above this swing high here. And now we could target the overall low down here. But in order for us to know if price is going to remain bearish and if this is going to be a winning trade and when to go break even, we need to make sure this candle here, this 1 hour candle that we're looking at the moment, needs to turn bearish. So we want to see price go below this opening price. Okay, so we get tapped in, cool. We're heading bearish, beautiful. Now we just got to remain bearish for the next 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, sorry. Okay, there's more 1 minute fair value gaps, cool, but we just want to make sure price remains bearish. That's it. Okay, and then we got another 1 more minute. So if we were just remaining bearish here, so for the next minute right here, if we were just remaining bearish, which we are, so we're closing below this candle low here, this 1 hour candle now turns bearish. Okay, very important to understand that. Since this candle now turns bearish, the next candle should just instantly dump. And the reason why is we've already done the accumulation. So we've already done the manipulation. This whole thing is manipulation. You can count this as accumulation. It doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't matter. But we can see the manipulation. We already have the higher time frame understanding. We've already swept price. We've already mitigated the 1 hour fair value gap. We already have an entry, okay? And price should continue bearish, right? So when you have a new 1 hour candle opening, you should just remain bearish and dump to this low here. This is our main objective. Bang, all right? Very straightforward. So we've done the manipulation here. That was a previous candle, okay? We made the wick, and this candle just distributes. So now if we go to the 1 hour time frame, what do we see here? We see the accumulation, or you could have this candle as accumulation, doesn't really matter, but you see this massive wick here that acts as a manipulation, and which also turns price bearish for this candle to now just sell off, okay? Very, very straightforward. So now when you guys start seeing these in the markets, it's very easy to spot your manipulation, right? We're just manipulating to this 1 hour fair value gap. We could take out some highs. We don't have to. We don't need accumulation. We just got to spot the manipulation with your higher time frame drawn liquidity. Beautiful. Okay, so this gives you a rough 6-hour trade. Again, a lot of these here happens always with time, and I go into immense details with profiles, fair value gaps, and all this, right? There's a lot that I can't teach for free for you guys, but hopefully this kind of helps you guys out. If you guys do need help, and if you guys do want to work with me, join the Discord, message me, do whatever, right? Just join the Discord and I'll help you guys out. All right, give me a DM, or just click the link in the description so you guys can work with me. All right, but there's a lot that goes into it, but here you guys can kind of see how price moves without any clean accumulation, right? Everyone's taught about accumulation, manipulation, distribution, but what happens if there isn't that clean accumulation, right? We don't want to be missing out on this price action.